How good would it feel to get your 100th customer, knowing that you've got a path to get 1,000 customers? Today, we're going to talk about just that. How do you get your first 100 customers? And I'm going to share with you not only the way that you'll get your first 100 customers, but how I lost over $100,000 in my first startup by not doing several things. So let's jump right in. I've started 5 businesses, and 3 of them hit over 7 figures, and I've got over 38,000 customers under my belt. Everything from e-commerce to services to an agency business, and selling everything from down to $5 as a very low end to up to $50,000 a month. So the techniques and the strategies that you're going to learn on this video apply to any business, because we want to look for the commonalities, the things that are in common for any business getting their first 100 customers. So I'm a bit of an introvert. So as an introvert, what better way to try to get customers without talking to people is actually to use advertising. So I jumped right in and I used advertising, but there's a problem with that. I jumped in and I started spending money on paid advertising. I was doing all kinds of different things, online advertising, offline advertising. I was attempting to get customers without having to talk to them. And that sounds like a good idea because I can get my business started right away. I can start getting customers by just paying. The problem is I was getting customers, but I was losing money all the time. That $100,000 yielded less than half of that amount in actual revenue. So that, not so great. And why did that fail? That failed because I didn't really understand the customers. I hadn't spent the time talking with them to understand what they really wanted. So my advertising was falling flat. I didn't know how to communicate with them. Now, when starting my advertising, I thought that I knew what my customers wanted. Maybe you think so too, but in actuality, I didn't really know. I didn't know their language. And knowing their language and what they really want is a critical part to doing advertising correctly. And you can do that. It can be part of your strategy. But jumping in there when you're first starting a business, trying to get your first 100 customers, you don't really know enough about those customers to advertise successfully. You might hit the jackpot, but I don't want to gamble money that way, and I don't think you should either. So all I did was jump in, make a huge pile of money, and just light it on fire. Now, I don't think you want to do this either. So what we have to first do when you're getting our first 100 customers is understand what the purpose of the first 100 customers are. First 100 customers are about understanding with each customer how to be better for the next customer. It's not about the money with the first 100 customers. If you're setting up your business for success, to have thousands of customers, you're not really worried so much about just what's the incremental revenue from one of the first 100 customers. What you really need to be focused on is understanding those customers so that you're a little bit better each single time. And in order to do that, how do you do it? You talk to them. You actually have to go through the process of talking to them, even if you're selling something for $5. Yes, I did that for something selling $5. I actually went and I talked to all the people who might buy this $5 e-commerce item so they could really understand what they wanted. So how do you find these customers? You'll find them one of 2 ways. Either through direct outreach or your network. So it could be somebody you know who is an ideal customer, or by cold outreach, just asking somebody who you don't know, a total stranger, are you interested in this? And what that reaction is going to help inform how you get those next 100 customers, your first 1,000 customers. Having those conversations is really painful, but it's really important. This is the hard part about starting and scaling a business. But if you don't do this work, if you try to hide behind advertising, you're going to light a big bonfire of money like I did. Let me give you the other side of the story. Those $5 e-commerce items, by talking to 100 people, I was able to scale that business to $1.3 million in revenue in 10 months. I could do that because I really understood how to talk to those people. And when I can talk to them, then I can translate that, in my case, into Facebook ads because I really understood what they wanted and the pain points and their objections to buying a little trivial $5 item. Now, if that's the case, and I could scale from 0 to 1.3 million in 10 months by really understanding, it drives home the point that I can do that with a $5 item. I've done it with $50,000 a month services. Did I go ahead and start just spamming the world with advertising at the beginning of running an agency? No, I stopped and I made cold calls and I understood, what do these people really want? How do I sell them? How do I communicate with them? And then later on, when I mastered that, 100 customers under my belt, well, now I can hire a sales team. Now I can start doing advertising, and it becomes so much easier if you've understood those first 100 customers. Now, at the beginning of this video, I did say that there are some mistakes that you should avoid. So let's dive into those to make sure that you're not going to make any of those. What you're probably going to hear is a bunch of tactics. You're going to hear, oh, well, you need to do SEO and write articles. You need to do social media, get some influencers. You need to put up a billboard. I've even heard that. There are all kinds of things that you'll hear as the one solution to getting a bunch of customers. And they may be a solution to getting customers, but they aren't the solution now. If you are watching this video, it means you're trying to get your first 100 customers. And what I don't want you doing is getting distracted with things that are not going to get anywhere for a long, long period of time. SEO takes a while. Social media, yeah, it takes a while. It might happen. But the point is, how do you know what to put out into the world if you don't know what the customer really wants? So take a beat and slow down and actually talk to the customer. I know, as an introvert myself, I know how hard that is. But what I don't want you doing is struggling for a long period of time because you wasted a bunch of time or a bunch of money with assumptions about what the market wants, when in actuality, a simple conversation done 100 times will get your company to accelerate so much faster. I've done strategies for over 753 companies, and literally every single one of them who's talked to customers has accelerated faster than trying to do advertising from the get-go. By understanding the customer, and I'm going to say it again and again and again, by understanding the customer, you are going to accelerate yourself way faster, and you're going to save yourself a lot of pain at the cost of maybe 6 months of slogging it through those sales, those conversations. So bottom line, if you want to get to 1,000 customers, put a lot of effort into the first 100 and do it the old school way, do personal outreach and talk to every single one of them.